The manhunt continues tonight for the killer or killers responsible for execution-style murders of 8 family members. Good evening. Thank you for joining us at 11. I'm Mike Jackson.
And I'm Colleen Marshall. Tips have been pouring into investigators, but so far no arrests have been made. Here's what we know at this hour. 8 members of the Roden family in Pike County all found dead this morning, spread out over 4 crime scenes, 4 different houses. All the victims were adults except for one 16-year-old boy. Some of the victims were in bed, indicating they were shot while they were sleeping. A news conference wrapped up just less than 2 hours ago. The Ohio Attorney General saying members of the Bureau of Criminal Investigation have interviewed 30 people today. NBC4's Dan Perlman live in Chillicothe now, where we've heard several of those people had been questioned in connection with this case. Dan, what have you learned?
Well, let me just set the scene for you here at the Ross County Law Enforcement Center. It's actually quiet outside. The BCI van parked right in front here. Around town, a noticeably higher police presence, especially compared to what I normally see when I come into town. Now, a little while ago, as you mentioned, Attorney General Mike DeWine did tell us that law enforcement here is on the lookout. Investigators right now are talking with several people behind closed doors.
I would not use the term person of interest. I will confirm that a number of people are being interviewed, and there are several of those who are in Chillicothe.
And DeWine would not elaborate exactly on how many people are behind closed doors talking with investigators here. This just shows just how widespread this investigation truly is. We are live in Chillicothe. Dan Perlman, NBC4.
Thank you, Dan. Investigators in Pike County have a long night ahead of them, combing for clues at those 4 separate crime scenes.
Now, right now, police do not believe that any of the victims killed themselves, and they still don't know if there was more than one shooter. The crime scenes are spread out over several miles. Pike County deputies, received the first 911 call this morning that 2 men were dead in a home on Union Hill Road. When they arrived, they were flagged down by 2 other homes down on Union Hill Road. A few hours later, another 911 call that a man was dead in a home on Left Fork Road, about 10-minute drive from the first crime scene. A rural town in terror after 7 adults and 1 teenager all shot execution style. The first 3 homes where the bodies were found are within a couple of miles of one another on a sparsely populated stretch of road, while the 8th body, a man, was found in a house within 30 miles.
Right now, we have no one in custody. There is a strong possibility that any individuals involved with this are armed and extremely dangerous.
Some of the victims were in bed, including one woman killed with her unharmed 4-day-old child with her in bed. No motive has been determined, and authorities didn't release any information on whether there were multiple weapons used or whether anything was missing from the homes.
We have one person. I wouldn't call him an active shooter, but you have one person who is armed and dangerous, and there may be more than one. There may be 2, there may be 3. We just don't know at this point, how many people we're really talking about at all.
DeWine says tonight it's a question of public safety, particularly for members of the Roden family.
NBC4 has had crews in Pike County all day long gathering new information on this case. NBC4's Courtney Yoon joins us live now outside the Piketon Village Hall. Earlier tonight, she was talking to some people who live near the mass shooting sites. And Courtney, I understand, were friends of the youngest victim?
Yes, Colleen, we spoke to a lot of people out here today still in shock over what happened, and we just got out of that press conference with the Attorney General, Ohio Attorney General, and of course the sheriff here, and telling us that the crime scenes there are still active and probably will be until mid-morning tomorrow. No additional victims have been found at this time, and still no description of how many suspects are out there, and also no arrests made tonight. But the sheriff and Ohio Attorney General are making it clear that they will find the murderer or murderers involved in this heinous crime.
When this investigation is complete, it's going to point us in the direction that we need to go, and we'll find who did this.
Pike County Sheriff Charles Reeder says 30 people have already been interviewed. So far, no word on a motive or why the lives of 8 people, including one 16-year-old, were so brutally taken.
We have a specific family that has been targeted. I don't believe there's any other threat to any members of the community. However, there is a threat there, and I believe that threat to be armed and dangerous.
Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine says they spoke with the Roden family, devastated from today's murders of their loved ones.
You know, it's not something you expect to find any place in the state of Ohio, and it's not something certainly you would expect to find in Pike County.
Some people who live here in Piketon are trying to keep moving forward. The 46th annual Dogwood Festival was still held tonight amidst the tragedy. Resident Chris Schaefer says the horrible news is sending shockwaves through their tight-knit community.
Well, I think it shatters the maybe the myth of, you know, these kind of things can't happen in this kind of a community.
Sisters Madison and Macy Conley are neighbors with the Roden family. They live less than 2 miles from where they were killed earlier today.
I mean, you hear about things happening like in Cincinnati and Columbus and big things like that, but we're out there and there's nobody on that road. We think we're safe.
Your heart kind of sinks because we live out there.
Again, the sheriff says that a specific family has been targeted in these brutal murders and that they believe there's no specific threat to the community at large, but they do say whoever is responsible for this is believed to be armed and dangerous. And the sheriff is also telling us that they're very appreciative of all of the tips and leads that have been pouring in to their call center tonight. And they're still encouraging anyone out there who believes they have some information, no matter how small they believe it is, to please call the sheriff's office, or you can also call 1-855-BCI Ohio. Live in Piketon, Courtney Yoon, NBC4.
Thank you, Courtney. The Ohio Attorney General's office and the Pike County Sheriff's Office continues to ask for help from the public tonight. They're asking that anyone with information on this case give a call to the Bureau of Criminal Investigation tip line. It's toll free, 1-855-BCI-OHIO, or you can call the Pike County Sheriff's Office 740-947-2111.
Obviously, people have been following this all day long on our social media websites and really sending their prayers and condolences to the family. Linda Harbor says sending prayers and condolences to loved ones of anyone involved. Other people just expressing their shock. This is so utterly awful. My stomach is churning. And so sad. Prayers for the family. A 3-year-old, a 6-month-old, and a 4-day-old babies left unharmed. The world keeps getting sadder by the moments. Obviously, you can join the conversation on Facebook, online, on Twitter, as we continue to follow the tragedy for the Roden family. And we do plan to continue our team coverage as we learn more about the killings and any possible suspects. Stay with us on air for constant updates at NBC4i.com.